What's going on? Welcome back to another one, man. Today we're going to check out the 4.0 update. Intended for quarter 3. Based off what I've been hearing, quarter 3 sounds like it could fall anywhere between late July into September. That's what it sounds like for that quarter 3 there. Let's see what they're offering with our characters here. Following the release of the new character customizer in Alpha 2.23, this update adds additional hair and facial hair options, as well as facial piercings. Okay. Piercings are cool. I'd like to see some tattoos, you know. Let's see, hair's great. You know, we do have some very generic hair. The beards are fantastic though. I have a great beard on my guy. Locations, baby. Here's the juicy stuff. Pyro. Man, it's been a long time coming. Pyro 1 is the first planet from the sun of the Pyro system. Its thick, high-pressure atmosphere hides a strange landscape beset by powerful winds and lightning strikes. That sounds pretty fucking cool. I can only imagine what CIG is going to do with that. Under the clouds, there is an ecosystem of plants, animals that endure its extremely high temperatures, even during powerful stellar flares. It sounds like we got some different kind of animals coming that seem to thrive in extremely high temperatures. Get some input in the comments on what you might think that sounds like to you. See what we got. Pyro 2, Monox. Monox is the second planet from the sun of the Pyro system, nicknamed Monox for the deadly carbon monoxide in its atmosphere. It has a temperate climate and was seen as a viable candidate for terraforming shortly after its discovery. However, its proximity to the system's volatile sun made it dangerous for human habitation. The United Nation of Earth, UNE, refused to clear it for terraformation, instead allowing corporations to harvest its natural resources. Underrated by the potential risk, outlaws eventually took up residence on the planet when the last corporations pulled out of Pyro in the 26th century. So it sounds like a pirate place. Sounds like a great place to do a little bit of treasure hunting, really. Granted, we have the things we need to survive there. Let's see. Bloom is the third planet from the sun of Pyro system, cold but naturally habitable. That's what's up. We needed another cold planet, something like Microtech. It became the epicenter of mining endeavors in Pyro. Pyrotechnic Amalgamate, I'm not even gonna try to read that, and other corporations constructed multiple staging sites, employee barracks, and processing centers that were in use until the cost of their maintenance could no longer be offset by mining profits. Abandoned when the last active corporations in Pyro ceased operations there in the late 26th century, they were claimed by squatters, outlaws, former miners who lacked the means to return to the United Empire of Earth. I wonder if we're going to get hostile NPCs out there now. That's what it sounds like. We're going to have some squatters and some outlaws out there on Bloom. This is sounding phenomenal. This sounds, whoa. I think Pyro is going to be my main place of gaming, actually, when we get there. Pyro 4 is the outermost moon of Pyro 5, and astronomers theorize that it was once the fourth planet from the sun of the Pyro system. At some point before humans discovered Pyro, a massive celestial body collided with Pyro 4, catastrophe warping its landscape, destroying its atmosphere, and knocking it into the orbit of nearby gas giant Pyro 5. Tectonic activity that resulted from this impact has quieted and a new atmosphere has formed. Pyro 4 is far from stable. It is a long, slow collision course with Pyro 5 and will one day either crash into it or break up in its rings. That sounds like a fantastic event, like a massive, large-scale event, not something that happens multiple times. This is something that you need to set aside a day for. I feel like it would be great. Listen, hear me out. Set this on a weekend, 5 o'clock, you know, give most people a chance to have the day off, as many as we can have, and make this a one-day event. Have this blow up. Have this make something happen with this. If they're leaving that in the lore that this will one day crash into or break up in the ring, they got to do something with that. That sounds awesome. Pyro 5. Pyro 5 is the fourth planet from the sun of the Pyro system. It was given this classification of Pyro 5 when researchers came across strong evidence that it was the outermost moon once maintained a stable orbit around the system's star between Pyro 3 and Pyro 5. When it was struck by an unknown celestial body, it was knocked into Pyro 5's gravitational sphere of influence. Residents of and travelers through the Pyro system are known to harvest hydrogen from Pyro 5's green and yellow atmosphere. I wonder if that's going to be a gameplay loop. Hydrogen. I wonder if that's going to be something we'll be able to grab out of the atmosphere ourselves. Terminus. Pyro 6 is the outermost world of the Pyro system. Its nitrogen oxygen atmosphere is technically breathable, but contains high amounts of methane and carbon dioxide dioxide, that it has a negative effect on one's health after extended exposure. Pyrotechnic amalgamated. I sounded that out, y'all. Fucking give me some fucking props. That was good shit. Spelling bee champ in the house. Placed their main hub of operations in orbit around Terminus, later abandoning the station. So it sounds like you can be out there briefly with no helmet, but will give you some long-term effects. I'd like to see diseases come into the game with things like this. Ignis is the innermost moon of the gas giant Pyro 5 Pyro system. The multiple canyons and dry riverbeds of its surface suggest that liquid water once flowed there in a distant past. That sounds phenomenal for low flying right there. That's probably going to be a low flying haven. Its frigid average temperature and deadly atmosphere of sulfur dioxide creates an unfriendly environment for those who lack proper protective equipment. Nonetheless, the moon sometimes sees visitors seeking to resupply their air reserves thanks to a small amount of oxygen in the atmosphere. Jump points. Moving the first jump point into the persistent universe, connecting the Stanton and Pyro systems together, includes necessary vehicles, items, functionality, the jump points themselves, and their inner tunnels. We've seen this. We've seen a trailer of this, and it looked pretty fucking cool. Supposedly, we're gonna have to steer through this ourselves, though, and you can fall out of the quantum. That's to be seen. You can fuck up apparently and mess it up, so we'll see how that works out. Colonialism outposts, a small home for AI to live and shelter. They consist of a central hub and a few optional internal and external modules. They provide the basic necessities to support a small group of people for the indefinite amount of time. See, I feel like this right here is a small glimpse into maybe base building. Not to this exact effect, but it's going to be something like this. This is the idea of what your building will probably look like after you build it, depending. I'd like to see what this looks like. Space stations. Adding rundown rest stop stations to the Pyro system, which provide basic services such as repair, sustenance, and commerce. So basically a little bit like the Stanton system there. Earth is the sixth moon of the gas giant Pyro 5 Pyro system. Thanks to an increased greenhouse effect in its dense carbon dioxide atmosphere, it is unusually warm for a moon so distant from the sun. Its carbon-rich soil supports forms of vegetation that utilizes crystalline carbon in the base structures. Before the system was overtaken by outlaws in the 27th century, these planets were a popular subject of research among botanists. That's pretty fucking cool. Wonder what kind of plant life we can find here. Fuego is the fifth moon from the gas giant Pyro 5. Pyros in the Pyro system, relative temperature. Fuego is the fifth moon from the gas giant Pyro 5 Pyro system. Relative temperature, but still cold. It is mostly carbon dioxide atmosphere with small percentages of nitrogen, sulfur dioxide, and oxygen. That seems to be a trend with this system. Carbon dioxide atmospheres. High amounts of iron sulfate in its soil gives the surface a yellow and black appearance. That sounds cool as fuck. Infamous smuggler group headhunters often utilize Fuego as a stash point for goods during their nascent years in the early 2600s. This will probably be a great spot for treasure hunting as well. I've heard a few of these that I've read I want to go explore soon. Pharaoh is the fourth moon from the gas giant Pyro 5 Pyro system, a hotbed of seismic activity. Pharaoh experiences frequent earthquakes that disturb its deep oceans of brackish water. The moon has an unusual ecosystem that thrives both on the surface and under the sea, supported by the carbon dioxide and nitrogen in Pharaoh's dense atmosphere. We need submergible vehicles, and I want to see a ship that's submergible, like how we have, what is it, USOs now, unidentified submersible objects. I want to see this in the game. If we're getting water life, and we're going to take all this time to make the water tech look this great, and we get some underwater vehicles here. Adair is the third moon from the gas giant Pyro 5 Pyro system. Jagged mountains and rocky hills dominate its crater-ridden landscape because it lacks a protective atmosphere that would otherwise break apart the approaching celestial objects. Its surface sees frequent impacts. The air is permeated with fine particles of dust that are generated during these events. Otherwise break apart from celestial objects. So it sounds like we may have falling stars here a lot. Kind of what it sounds like to me. Vatra is the second moon from the gas giant Pyro. 5. Pyro system. Its thick, high-pressure atmosphere of nitrogen and methane supports an ecosystem of plants that subsist on hydrocarbons instead of carbon dioxide. Some water is present on Vatra in the form of ice, but it's too cold on the surface to exist in a liquid state. Sounds like Pluto. That's what it makes me think of. Okay, so that's the end of locations. Oh shit, ladies and gents, we're getting the space cow, the quasi-grazer. These large warm-blooded herb animals were originally discovered on the vast plains of the Quasi on Terra. Most notable for their unusual method of carrying their eggs on their underside, the quasi-grazer has become one of the standard seed animals, and there can be commonly found on most terraformed planets in the UEE. Implementing the fire hazard system, which tracks fire and temperature on static and dynamic objects for initial release, fire will be set for select vehicles. More than likely gonna be like looking at things like the A2, probably the Carrack, more popular ships here. That's going to be a small fighter solo ship problem, which is my main thing here, at least at the beginning. Engineering. Allow players to manage, maintain, and repair various ship systems. Players can assume different roles that each provide a unique gameplay loop. With engineering gameplay, players have to contend with item degradation, malfunctioning, and power management. All right. Life support. Implementing the first iteration of onboard life support systems in ships, which entails the ship's components that generates breathable gas when turned on, and management of said life support components within the vehicle loadout manager. So basically, if you get your ship shot up, your life support could go out and you'll run out of oxygen, it sounds like. I wonder if this will tie in with engineering. Solar burst. I've seen people talking about this, and it actually sounds pretty wicked. Solar bursts are dangerous natural disasters that happen regularly around older stars like Pyro. Phenomenal. We need natural disasters. I'd like to see avalanches at Microtech, you know. If I low fly over mountains, I should be able to see avalanches be caused. In these instances, the sun erupts with a high energy particle wave generated from its surface, traveling at 15% the speed of light through the entire star system. This dangerous high energy particle wave can be avoided by hiding behind other objects that are big enough. So I wonder what kind of indicator you'll receive to let you know a solar burst is on its way. Ships and vehicles. The RSI Zeus. This ship is so sought after and so hyped. Building, balancing, and implementing RSI's small multi-cruise ship, the Zeus MK2ES. Let me know in the comments why you're stoked. I'm not excited. MFD rework. I am very excited for this one. Rebuilding ship multi-function displays in building blocks, including new design functionality, and customization options. This update also includes select number of update ship HUDs, giving greater visibility as well as manufacturer-based visual. This is an absolute game changer right here. Every time I get in my ship or I respawn an arena commander, I have to go back in, like for example, if I'm in the F7A, I don't really want to see what my power is to. I know what my power is to. I know what I have it set to on my sticks here. I don't need to see that. I would much rather see my self status and my target status. But every single time I have to go in here, hold F, click menu, go to self status, get it set up, and then zoom back out and get moving. 90% of the time in Arena Commander, by the time you do that, you're already locked onto. Somebody's already getting ready to fire on you. So you're at a disadvantage off the rip. Will allow you to basically set your MFDs how you want them from the get-go based off the research that I've done. And this is a much welcome change. I can't wait for this one. Weapons and items, multi-tool updates. Ooh, this one right here. Bringing the multi-tool in line with Squadron 42, including adding additional functionality like cutting for specific scenarios, repair, and updates to improved handling, integrated UI, and the use of batteries to operate it. I hate the handling of the multi-tool. Some people don't mind it, but I don't really like having to hold R and move my mouse. The UI, yeah, it needs some help. I don't really care for the UI either, and I definitely do not like the idea of it needing batteries. That's one of the main reasons I don't use the big multi-tool, because I don't want to have to worry about the battery. It's just another thing to have to go grab, and until the game is stable enough, I want to see stability before I see a million things I have to grab every time I spawn, you know? What's the point of having all that? And it's going to become a nuisance if every time I go get all my shit, get the fucking elevator breaks. Let me start there. If I had to sit here and go down to the cargo bay and buy batteries and buy a multi-tool and go to the Galleria and buy an armor and buy weapons and go claim my ship, and then I get out on the pad and the game just for whatever reason blows my ship up, it's done that. That's gonna piss me off. So before we see all this, man, I really hope we see some high quality stability updates. And don't get me wrong, 3.23 stability is great. Head and shoulders above 3.23, phenomenal. Okay, let's see your charge and drain. Adding the ability for players to drain, store, and charge objects with power using the multi-tool, including the ability to overcharge objects and also remove distortion damage. Okay, so basically I guess if you shut down someone's ship with a distortion weapon, you kill them and you're working on the piracy loop, you can remove that distortion damage. Fire extinguisher. Hey, if we're going to have fire mechanics, gotta have a way to put it out, right? All tasks required to implement functioning fire extinguisher in game. This feature will work alongside the fire hazard system. Fantastic. And last but not least here, core tech. Transit system refactor. Let's see here. Reworking the transit system used for trams and elevators to be compatible with server meshing as well as general more robust. Not bad, not bad. I didn't think the transit systems was really too bad to begin with anyway. Mission system refactor. Reworking the underlying mission system to become compatible with server meshing, allowing for easier creation and maintenance of mission content. CIG, up the bounty payment, please. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. If everything else in here don't mean shit without this. This right here is the single thing in this update to me that makes this the biggest, most impactful, most sought after, can't wait to see thing in the game. Server meshing. The initial implementation of server meshing enables multiple servers per shard to improve load distributions and facilitates navigation between two solar systems. It's music to my ears right here. 800 players is great. I'd love to see it at the end. I did notice there was a lot of issues with people's videos and people talking about it after CIG had lifted the confidentiality clause. Basically, you can't talk about the game. After people came out and could talk about it, there seemed to be a lot of issues when they went up to 800 players. Now, I wasn't a part of the test, and don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. You're in the chat and and you was a part of the testing, let me know. But 400 players, the content that I heard and the reviews sounded phenomenal. A live universe, unexpected, anything can happen. And let me explain something to you guys. I'm not a PvP advocate. I'm not a PvE advocate. I love the PvE side of it. I love the fact that I can group up with just 10 guys and go wreak havoc on a bunker and steal everything they got and then take it all back and bust down the money between us. That's wicked. And I also like the fact if I'm not feeling it today and I'm in a bad mood and I happen to see you flying around in your little caterpillar there and I'm like, I don't feel like working, I'm gonna take his shit. I love that too. This is what we need in the verse. We need risk and reward. What is the point of having all this money and all these gameplay loops if it's just a fucking money generator? There's no real threat level to you. And this isn't an argument to get into for the PvP community. Don't get me wrong. I don't give a fuck either way. Let's start there. In my opinion, the game is going in a good direction overall. Master modes, we all know it needs a little bit of work. But all this that we're seeing here, phenomenal content. I've been the Traveler, guys. Thanks for taking the journey with me today, man. More content on the way. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. Have a great one, buddy. Take it easy.